So today's riff is about FACE, the functional accountability chart. Now, I promise to keep these to just a few minutes, so we're not going to go into great details on all of the different elements. If you're in scaling up training, you should know about that. But what I want to do is cover a couple of different approaches. I think there's a different variance of how to approach this. So first off, let me share my screen. Okay, in the scoreboard, if you look at functional accountability, we see our functions, who's accountable, leading indicators, results, and outcomes. And of course, you have the four steps. Now, these steps aren't necessarily in the correct sequence. Um, First off, before we start one, two, three, four, we need to look at the functions of the company. Now, this is a default list. There could be some variance for an individual company, and there also might be things that are there that aren't needed, and there might be things that are missing. So we need to fill those in. All right. Now, if we follow the traditional path, we put in who's currently accountable, one or more names. And I say or more because that's really a problem that we have to solve. But if there are multiple people who are accountable in these areas, let's go ahead and identify them. Um, and then we have to ask the four questions, kind of touching on what I was just saying. If there's more than one person in the seat, why is that? That's a problem that has to be resolved. Maybe there's a person, and often it's the CEO in smaller companies in particular, that occupy more than one seat. That's a problem. Do we have empty seats? In a company that's scaling up, we may have new positions created, new things in the organization. We might have empty seats, and we need to deal with that. And the question about anybody who's in a functional, there who's functionally accountable, would you enthusiastically rehire them? Okay, that's an important question. Is it somebody who you really feel is the right person there? And then three and four are backwards because you need to determine what are the results and the outcomes desired in order to create leading indicators to measure the success or determine if there's failure. So that's the traditional way of doing that. I approach this a little bit differently. I do not fill in person accountable first. Think that creates a bias. I want to look at the organization, where it is and where it needs to go, determine the results I need for that particular function, determine the leading indicators. Then I last identify the person accountable because I may not have the right butt in the right seat. So I want to look at my organization kind of with a clean slate and say who needs to be in that position, or do I need to hire somebody for that position? Do I need to remove the person that's in that position because I've identified a better person? So my take's a little bit different on it. I don't like to do who's in that person or who's in that role first. I like to do it last. Let's make sure we have our organization in terms of functional accountability defined properly. Then let's figure out who the right person, the right butt in the right seat is. That's the riff for the day.